M&Ms, let's just unpack first where we are with this whole sort of woke candy debacle. I'm not even sure how to characterize it.
It kind of it does defy characterization. I agree. All right, let's jump into it. Where do you want to start?
Well, I guess the first thing that to explain to people who are not familiar with this, and I'm sure many are, it really is about this Mars, the candy company, making a decision to retire these anthropomorphized candies that have sort of essentially been accused of being woke and fat and everything else by Tucker Carlson and people I would say that are on the right. Let's put it that way. What's curious to me is how this has been managed and whether Mars is getting into the culture wars, because I found the whole thing a little confusing. So let me step back from a branding perspective. What do you make of it? I mean, as a former CMO yourself, what's motivating this strategy at Mars?
Well, I think the hypothesis there is that there is a strategy, and I think I don't mean that dismissively. I just think we don't yet know. I don't see evidence of a strategy that they have adhered to anyway, right? So I think some context for those who may be unfamiliar, though I wish I was amongst those who are unfamiliar with this story. Importantly, they haven't retired the characters. They've put them on a pause. So there seemed to be an intention going back a year ago on the part of M&Ms and Mars Wrigley to turn these anthropomorphized chocolate characters into a more representative, more modern, more youth relevant presentation of same. And
out go the stiletto heels, in come the block heels. That kind of
yes, that's right. But I also think, it's important as we think about what inclusivity is. Stiletto heels are not, do not in and of themselves suggest you're not being inclusive. There are plenty.
That's comfort, not diversity.
Who wear them. So yeah, they modified the characters. They were derided by he who is more afraid of woke and the end of the white male patriarchy than anyone, Tucker Carlson, for being woke. And I think as a marketer, you have to give credit yet again to those on the right for framing an issue to their advantage, because how in the world is woke not a good thing? Right? How in the world is inclusive and representative and intending to help everybody feel welcome not a good thing? But apparently for Tucker and his audience, it has downsides. So yeah, they a petition was started as the green M&M went from the stiletto heels you mentioned to sneakers to make green sexy again. I mean, it really to which, interesting, the company did not reply. It's quite amazing. And then I don't know what precipitated last week's Tucker revisiting this issue. It may have been something that Mars launched a couple of weeks ago in support of International Women's Day, where they created a limited edition package.
I know it quite well because I was pitched on it and I passed on it, to be honest. So what it was, so first of all, they launched a purple category, a purple character in September, and probably, do we want to eat purple M&Ms? Leave that for another day. But this was a pitch basically where it would be all female packages of M&Ms, and a percentage of sales would go to support women. And it felt marginal as a news story, as you can imagine. And also I didn't want to kind of get into the game of pretending candy characters are all female. So I passed on it for that reason, thinking, that's nice. Good for you. Good luck. You go, girl. And that was what Tucker Carlson and company reacted to, was they're back again and worse than ever. Now they look lesbian because they're holding hands. And I don't want to repeat it because it feels like we get down into the trenches of basically slinging mud at each other, which is kind of where we got to where we are right now.
Well, I think it's actually, personally, I don't think, if there are two sides to this, right? Um, uh, Building off of your use of the words each other, I don't think both sides are slinging mud. I think one side is slinging mud and the other is ducking. And I think that's a little bit of the issue that M&Ms and Mars face, because it wasn't just that they were doing a women's initiative, and again, it seems like it was well intended. But literally, the campaign was about flipping the script on the status quo, and in fundamentally pulling these characters back, right, because of Tucker's critique and his audience's disdain. All they've done, at least for the moment, until we see what they choose to do at the Super Bowl, but perhaps even regardless, is reinforce the status quo, right? So rather than flipping the script on the status quo, they said, "Oh, you all prefer the status quo as it's been? Okay, our bad. We don't want to be divisive. M&Ms, wants to bring people together, and let's go have lots of fun." At a minimum, as I think I said, it lacks courage of conviction. It makes the campaign itself feel like a women washing stunt. It lacks authenticity, and I don't think that that's M&Ms, right? I think, again, they've
No,
been
it's not.
trying to
It's
do good
not.
things, but execution matters.